and I'm welcoming you to my video on making the quilt you see behind me, Snowball's Chance. I'm going to do a quick how-to on making the blocks, and then stay tuned after if you want more information. I'm going to talk about my scrappy border, and I'm going to make a second video, so there'll be a part 2. So see you there.
We'll start with the Snowball square. The Snowball square is a square of fabric with 4 triangles on the corners, and we achieve that with 5-inch squares and 2-inch squares on the corner, sewn on the diagonal. So you can use layer cakes, pre-cut 5-inch squares, yardage that you have, or any scrap you can find. Each block is made of 9 squares. That's called a 9-patch. The Snowball's Chance quilt has 12 blocks of 9 patches. Each individual block has one colorway and one corner colorway. I like to make the corners with high contrast to really make the fabric sing, and I like each block to be beautiful by itself, so I design them individually. For my sample quilt, I'm going to use 12 different fabrics, and I'm going to use a black with white and a white with black for the contrasting corners. If you're using scraps or pre-cuts, go ahead and use your 5-inch squares. If you're using yardage, cut 2 strips 5 inches wide by the width of fabric for the squares, and 2 strips 2 inches wide by width of fabric for the corners. Cut 9 5-inch squares for each block, and cut 36 2-inch squares for each block. So that would be 4 squares per corner. 4 times 9, 36. Here comes the fun part, the sewing. Okay, use your favorite method. You can draw a line across the diagonal and sew right across that diagonal line. You don't even have to pin. You could align some blue tape straight with your needle, and then you'll just watch the corner of that fabric go right up the edge of that blue tape, right where I'm pointing there. Just watch that line. Or use one of those gadgets you bought that one time at that store. Remember the thing that's in your cupboard? Oh my gosh. This one is the Sew Perfect Angles that I bought one time, and it's from New Leaf Stitches. It works really well. Or if you're really tricky, you can just eyeball sew corner to corner. They're pretty small squares, so that works just fine. See? Be super careful. You can use scissors, or you can use a rotary cutter to remove the corners, leaving a 1/4-inch seam. I can use a ruler pretty safely. How about you? Et voila! You have your block. You're so tricky and good. A good pressing goes a long way, but these are pretty easy. I want to set the seam first by ironing it flat, and then I just gently pull each corner open and iron it flat. You can do that. See? Sliver trimming, now that is tricky. Do you see how my block looks a little bit wonky on the corners? Well, I can put the edge of my ruler and just kind of get that yucky bits off. See that? Right here you can see this black parts are sticking out. I'll use the good edge of the inner square and just make a little sliver trim. That's going to be great. Okay, I pin because I find that the way I iron it, I have to flip some of the seams. Let me show you what that means. See how my seams are facing the same way right here? If I reverse them like this and I stick a pin in to hold the new direction flat like that, then I have them reversed and they're nested so they cuddle up really nicely. So I'll flip that one, and then I'll flip this one here and put a pin in this side. And that way I can just have the seams nested really nice and tight. So that's what it will look like before you sew, at least if you're me. So when you sew, you'll sew a 1/4-inch seam. I don't think you need to backstitch, and it'll look like this when you're done. And then you will sew the snowballs in 3 sets of 3. I press those seams that I flipped in a new direction, and then I just press the seams to one side to make sets of 3. After sets of 3, you're going to sew 3 sets of 3 to make your 9 patch, so it will look like this. Once you've sewn those, you will press it, and you see I made a dog's dinner of this. You can see my little seams go everywhere, but it'll be fine once I get it quilted with the batting. These 2 seams, you'll see I ironed those open and flat. And there it is. It's beautiful, and no one will know that there's a dog's dinner on the back. Bow wow.
Okay, so your blocks are done, but before you sew them together, I'm going to have you cut the side border pieces, and then when you assemble the quilt top, you won't have to add a border. So that's all going to be in the second video. I'll meet you there.